point us watching the movie?
No. But I don't know how much James Bond knowledge you have. So I'm just going to ask you a couple pre-questions.
Okay.
I was going to say, if you could make that face the entire time, that'd be great. How many James Bond movies have you seen?
To my knowledge, 0.
What do you think of when you hear James Bond?
007 and gadgets.
Okay, that's a good answer. Anything else you want to throw in?
Fast cars.
Okay.
And James Bond jumping over a cliff in a car.
Interesting. I feel like there's one more big thing that you haven't mentioned.
Isn't there a lady?
There we go.
There's a lady.
So, gadgets, cars, and women is what I would expect somebody that hasn't watched James Bond but knows of James Bond would highlight. So, well done. You pass the test. Now, we're going to come back to that as we watch these movies and see how well the amount of those things in these movies stack up against your perception of how much of James Bond that is. Okay. Ready?
Sure.
Nailed it. Ugh. How you feeling?
Yeah.
So you've now seen the James Bond movie.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
There was a woman, and she died. There wasn't as many gadgets.
So that was, when I first saw this movie when it came out, that was my biggest criticism.
There weren't any gadgets?
Right. Because my entry into James Bond, or like what my thing, because like my dad watched the old movies, so I had seen the old movies, which had a lot of gadgets, but my thing, like as my James Bond, were the video games. And gadgets are a huge part of the video games.
Okay. I've never played any of the video games.
We'll fix that.
Okay.
Someone in class today asked me what my favorite video game was. I told them Spider-Man 2 from the Nintendo GameCube and 007 Nightfire, also from Nintendo GameCube. But, when this movie came out, like, that's what I was most upset about, was that there were no gadgets. There's also a lot of, like, supporting cast that's not in this movie, but I wasn't really upset about that. But, some point later, I started reading some of the books, because I have all of the original books. And the gadgets aren't really a big thing in the books. So, like, they became a thing. I haven't read all the books. I'm sure they were there. But, like, the movies is really when that kind of took off.
In the in the entry sequence, he had, like, a grappling hook gun.
In the, like, the animated one?
Yeah. That's the beginning, though. Like, you'd think...
Was it... I'm trying to remember. Was it actually a grappling gun, or was it just a bullet, but you saw the trail going the whole time?
No, because he followed.
Oh, okay.
Like, I thought.
I don't remember.
I think.
There was a lot of...
I might be stupid.
No, it's... So, one of the things that you didn't mention, because why would you know, is that all of the movies have really long opening credit sequences that are mostly random and nonsensical and don't have much to do with the movie, with a couple exceptions. So, the theme of the cards...
Kind of like the Pink Panther opening themes. You've never seen the Pink Panther.
I've seen...
They're a little bit random.
I've seen at least one of them at least once. With Beyonce?
No. What?
Steve Martin?
No. Like...
Are you talking about the cartoon?
No. No, what?
Pink Panther
Pink Panther.
is a movie.
It's multiple movies.
Right. Starring Steve Martin and Beyonce in at least one of them.
I don't recall Beyonce being in any of them.
Yeah, she's the one that has the ring, the diamond.
We might be thinking of different movies. I have them all on DVD.
Possible.
I have them all on DVD, so I'll bring mine.
We'll look it up.
I'll bring mine, you bring yours.
I don't have one. We'll look it up after we're done with this. So lack of gadgets. Okay. Other thoughts?
Lack of gadgets, lack of girls.
He had two.
The first one was irrelevant.
That's how most of his girls are.
Also, she was crying in the shower. That was kind of weird.
You never cried in the shower?
No.
Comment below. Cried in the shower?
Have you guys ever cried in the shower? Because I have not.
Isn't it like a thing that like, because then you can't tell how much you're crying because you're in the shower? It's a thing.
I got my tear ducts removed, so I don't cry.
Well, if they start bleeding, then, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good call. Did I have any? I wrote down a lot, but I'm not going to go through all of my notes. So you mentioned fast cars at the beginning. He's got two of them in this movie, but he never really drives them fast.
I mean, he drives the one fast in a circle.
Yes. And then he drives it very briefly before he crashes it. Most Bond movies have chases, but most of them are vehicle chases. This movie has a lot of on-foot chases. There were 4 chases, right? There was we wrote it down. There's an 8-minute chase at the beginning. Then later on, there's a 14-minute chase.
Literally 10 minutes later, there's another 14-minute chase.
Yes. And then there's the very short chase where he crashes. And then he chases her at the end.
So the first chase ends at 19 minutes. And then the second chase ends at 39 minutes. Do the math.
I thought it was like 52.
It was 52.
It started at 39, I think.
Oh, it started at 39. So 20 minutes later, after the first chase was done, the second chase started.
Within the first hour of the movie, nearly half of it is chases.
Yeah. There's a lot of chasing. On foot chasing.
On foot.
Well, James Bond is on foot. The other people are in cars.
No, the first chase, the other guy's on foot.
The first chase, the other guy's on foot most of the time. No, all of the time. The second chase, there's like... Which he chases a lot of different people throughout the movie. It's just...
Because the second chase is the one that
goes... a lot of people.
It goes from the one guy who leaves the bag. The bag is picked up by another guy. He follows that guy. Goes through a mall or something. Goes to the airport. And then he's driving that vehicle at the airport. So that's a very complicated chase. But yeah, I was going to ask, based on that first chase, can you tell what internet video trends were happening when this movie came out? Parkour videos. Because there was so much parkour in that first chase.
They climb a whole crane, right? And it's like, why are you still going? And he like tries to mimic the other guy, and then he falls down and like hurts himself, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
So I wrote down...
He's trying so hard to chase this man.
I wrote down, was this chase exciting? Did you find that chasing when they're both like climbing up the cables like a wannabe Spider-Man?
I like the idea that they're both trying to be Spider-Man. They're both trying to get bit by a radioactive spider first.
I also wrote, so at the beginning, the guy...
That's what's really in the bag, the radioactive spider.
The guy that he keeps telling to not touch his ear, and then gets thrown into the snake pit.
Uh-huh.
I wrote down, was this guy another 00? Because he's really bad at this.
Yeah, I got confused. Who was that guy?
He was like another spy, but I don't know what level of spy he was, and we never hear about him again.
Did he die or something?
I assume he got bit by the snake, but I don't know. So another recurring theme, particularly in these Bond movies, but somewhat in other movies, is that he very often goes rogue and or retires. Of which he did both in this movie.
Yeah, because they're like, you're off this mission, and then he does stuff anyway, and then...
Right.
And then at the end, he's like, I'm in love with this woman who's actually betraying me right now, but I don't know that yet. But I'm in love with this woman, and if I don't resign now...
He'll have no soul left.
He'll have no soul left to give her.
Do you remember, this is unrelated, do you remember when he's fighting the guy, the first guy, in the second chase, the first guy that he's chasing, before he starts chasing the other guy, and that guy pulls out a knife, and then they just hold hands for a really long time? Remember that fight?
Yeah, they're having like a staring contest.
They're like
holding
gripping each other's hands, and I wrote down, good thing the music is more exciting than this fight, because they're just like shaking, and this is all that, and then like slowly the hand goes this way, and then slowly, and I'm like, well, this is a cheap fight to choreograph, I guess.
And then eventually James Bond just,
So I wrote at the end, this movie
not
is...
that many times.
This movie is 3 movies. I think that's why it's so long. So the first movie is like the James Bond prequel, showing how I became a 00. Which I get why they wanted to show, because they never really show that in any of the other movies, but they take up a long time with it. And then the second movie is the main movie, where they play poker to get Le Chiffre. And then the third movie turns out Vesper was a double agent and betrays him and then dies. And then he starts going after those people. And I think that's why, because this movie felt really long. And it is really long. It's over 2 hours. But it feels really long also. So here's my question for you. He's got 4... Daniel Craig has 4 movies out so far. The 5th one is coming out this weekend. How do you think this one ranks? You haven't seen them all, right? So you can't rank them. But of the people that have seen these, where do you think most people rank this, 1 through 4?
Probably, I don't know, like 1 or 2.
So this is widely considered to be his best, and one of the best overall.
I don't know if I'm ready for the other 3.
Well,
if they just go downhill.
The next one is widely considered one of his worst. Probably his worst, and maybe like top 5 worst overall. But people say that it works better as a follow-up to this one. So because we've just watched this one and it'll be fresh, you'll probably get a better experience than like the people that went to see it however many years later it came out without rewatching the first one. I don't think I've ever rewatched the next one. If I did, it wasn't fresh after this one. So I'm kind of curious. But like, I think this is only the 3rd time I've seen this one. The first time was in theaters. I didn't like it mostly because of the lack of gadgets. The second time was after I had actually read some of the Bond books and had a better idea of what Bond originally was. And then I watched it again and I was like, okay, so this is like more back to what it was at the start. I can respect that. And so I had a good perception of it, and everybody talks highly of this movie. And so now, watching it a third time, after it's, been considered the best for over a decade, I'm just like, it's really long. And like, I don't think it's bad. It's just really long because it's 3 movies. So I've gone from disliking it to liking it to it's good, but it's long. That's where I'm at with this one. So the next one is like supposedly not as good, but shorter. Significantly shorter.
It's an hour shorter. Still
like 45 minutes shorter, yeah. Half an hour, I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, any other thoughts on this movie?
What was the 3 things? Cool cars.
Cars, gadgets, girls.
There was a lack of all 3 of them. So.
This movie was also very much.
Also, we discussed PDA. I was like, "What is a PDA?" Because I am not.
I think at the time that
old.
counted as a gadget, a personal digital assistant, which now we just all have on our phones. There are so many scenes in this movie where, watching it now, it just looks like he has 2 phones. Because one's a phone and one's a PDA. But yeah, I think that was like the big gadget. It just doesn't seem like a gadget now because our phones do all of that.
What was the thing that...
But all of the phones in this movie are Sony, because Sony was a big part of the making of this movie. So, like, the phones look weird because they're Sony phones, which don't exist anymore. Or at least not here in the United States in any significant market share.
So, what was the thing that had the word ellipsis on it? Was that a phone?
That was a phone, because that was a text. But I think anytime he looked at it and it was like a map or blueprints or anything like that, I think that was all the PDA. But also the PDA probably had email services, so other things other than that ellipsis. Because that ellipsis was on the phone that he took from the guy at the beginning, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, he took the phone of the guy who sent it, because he went into the sent messages.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know.
He's just taking everyone's phones.
He's
a phone stealer.
You used to be able to do that. But nowadays, everything's got thumbprint scanners and...
Just steal someone's phone.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a bit, that guy whose videos I've been playing lately, and you kind of chuckle at, Ryan George on YouTube. He's got a whole video about, like, mugging in 2020. And it's like, give me your phone. And also give me the passcode. And, like, give me your bank details so that you can't cancel all the, I don't remember all the jokes, but it's about how much more work it is. And it's like, sanitize the phone off. I don't want to touch that. Yeah, sanitize it first. Anyway. How, hyped isn't the right word. Do you still feel like you want to watch all of these?
I don't know. Are there gonna be more chase scenes? Are you gonna rewind to find out when they begin?
Only if they're really long.
Or you could just look at when they start.
There are some movies that I've watched where after a fight scene ended, I've gone back and gone frame by frame and counted the number of cuts in the fight scene.
If you do that, I'm losing.
There were some where there were like multiple cuts per second on average, and I just had to get a number so that I had, when I complained in my video, I had something solid to say. Anything else to say about? Do you know what the name of this movie is?
Something Casino.
Casino Royale. Yeah. I realized that I never mentioned it, and I'm like, they don't really say it in the movie.
I didn't know it was named Casino Royale. I just remember seeing it before he played it on the PlayStation. It came up with the name Casino Royale.
Oh, there you go.
And I half glanced at it, and I was like, is that the name of the movie?
Well done.
I kind of thought it was a video game at first.
Perception skills are good.
I was only half paying attention at that point.
Alright, we done?
Watching the next one.
Ow. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Hey everybody, Sam Tom here. Just wanted to let you know that I have 2 channels. If you're watching my music content, I also have a movie channel where I talk about movies and TV shows. If you're watching my movie content, I have a music channel where I do song covers, instrument demos, things like that. So feel free to check that out. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that YouTube stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.